What if fate gave you a second chance at life? For one African child, that chance came through Hollywood's biggest star. But her story? It's far from what you think. Zahara Jolie-Pitt, the adopted daughter of Angelina Jolie, went from the harshest conditions in Ethiopia to a life of luxury. But behind the fame, the glamour, and the smiles lies a story of struggles, controversies, and complex relationships. Let's take a deep dive into the shocking and often misunderstood life of Zahara Jolie-Pitt. Ethiopia, one of the poorest countries in the world, is home to more than 4 million orphans, many of whom live without basic necessities. For these children, life is often a matter of survival, not success. Among them was Zahara, a 6-month-old girl born into a world of extreme poverty. Her chances of survival were slim. Malnourished and abandoned, she spent her early months in an orphanage, barely holding on. The life ahead of her? Grim. At best, she might have spent her days working the fields, collecting sugarcane for a mere $1 a day. Without intervention, she likely would have never experienced a life beyond the streets of Ethiopia. But fate had something different in store for her. In 2005, a single moment changed everything. Hollywood superstar Angelina Jolie, known for her charitable work, visited an orphanage in Ethiopia. She saw Zahara and was instantly captivated. The actress, who had already adopted one child, Maddox, from Cambodia, knew in that moment that Zahara was meant to be her daughter. At the time, Jolie was dating Brad Pitt, and their life together was filled with philanthropy and global travel. While Zahara's biological family thought she was an orphan, the truth was more complicated. Zahara's mother, Mentwabe Dawit, was alive, but had been forced to give up her child to her grandmother because she could no longer provide for her. Zahara's biological father was unknown, and her mother, facing a taboo in her community, never fought for custody. Angelina and Brad were about to offer Zahara a life that was unimaginable. A new beginning in a world full of luxury and opportunity. From an Ethiopian orphanage to a luxurious California mansion, Zahara's life was about to be transformed, but it wasn't all glitz and glamour. The world watched as Angelina and Brad brought Zahara into their home, and paparazzi swarmed the family, eager to capture every moment. But then, an unsettling rumor surfaced. Media outlets reported that the couple was planning to return Zahara to Ethiopia. The fabricated stories stirred the public, with headlines painting the family as incapable of raising an adopted child. It was an invasion of privacy that only added pressure to an already complicated situation. What had seemed like a fairy tale was now overshadowed by controversy. The mystery deepened when Zahara's biological mother, Mentwabe Dawit, spoke out in 2007. She revealed the painful truth behind Zahara's birth, a story of sexual assault and abandonment. Mentwabe explained that after being attacked, she was left with no choice but to raise her daughter in secret, too ashamed to tell anyone the truth. Fearing judgment from her community, Mentwabe eventually made the heart-wrenching decision to send Zahara to live with her grandmother. But despite the circumstances, Mentwabe never questioned the adoption. In fact, she believed Zahara was incredibly fortunate to have been adopted by someone as famous and influential as Angelina Jolie. "I think my daughter is a very fortunate human being," she said, "to be adopted by a world-famous lady. I wish them both all the success they deserve." Her words were a blessing for Zahara's new family, but they also added layers to the already complicated story of adoption and identity. As Zahara grew older, life for the Jolie-Pitt family seemed to settle. But in 2017, a new chapter of Zahara's story began when her biological mother, Mentwabe Dawit, reappeared. In an interview with Daily Mail Online, Mentwabe made a surprising request. She wanted to see her daughter. "Please, just let me talk to my daughter," she pleaded, her voice filled with longing. For many, this request sparked a range of emotions. Should Zahara meet the woman who gave birth to her? Would it be healing for Zahara to reconnect with her roots? Or would it disrupt the life she had built with her adoptive family? Angelina Jolie, protective as always, decided not to allow the meeting. She was concerned that it would be emotionally difficult for Zahara and could lead to confusion. In her eyes, Zahara's real mother was the one who had raised her, not the woman who had given birth and then let her go. The decision wasn't easy, but it was made with Zahara's well-being in mind. The question remains, was Jolie's decision about protecting Zahara's emotional health, or was it a form of control? As the years passed, Zahara became more than just a member of one of Hollywood's most famous families. She found her own voice, charting a path that was uniquely hers. Zahara's journey wasn't just about enjoying the perks of fame. It was about making a difference. In addition to her charitable work, Zahara pursued her own passions. She created her own jewelry collection, showcasing her artistic talents. She also voiced the character Meng Meng in the animated film Kung Fu Panda 3, proving that she had more to offer the world than just being the adopted daughter of a superstar. But perhaps the most significant part of Zahara's growth was her decision to attend Spelman College in Atlanta, a prestigious, historically Black college. Zahara's choice to pursue higher education at a school dedicated to the empowerment of Black women speaks volumes about her commitment to understanding her roots and the world around her. Zahara, now 19, has become a young woman whose quiet strength and poise make her stand out from her siblings. While she doesn't seek attention, she continues to do amazing things in the background, never allowing herself to be overshadowed by the fame of her famous family. Zahara's adoption story is far from a fairy tale. Despite the love and care she's received from Angelina and Brad, many still criticize the adoption process, questioning whether it was ethical. Critics argue that Zahara was not a true orphan, as her biological mother was alive when she was adopted. This has led to heated debates about whether Angelina Jolie should have adopted Zahara in the first place. Some believe that Zahara's birth mother should have been given more of a chance to raise her, while others argue that adoption, regardless of the circumstances, saved Zahara from a life of poverty and hardship. Was it right for Angelina to step in, or should Zahara have remained with her biological family? Despite the controversy, one thing is clear: Zahara's life has been anything but ordinary. Her story challenges the common narrative of adoption and raises important questions about family, identity, and belonging. And while the public may continue to question the ethics of her adoption, Zahara herself seems unfazed by the noise. She has carved out her own space in the world, far from the judgment of others. Growing up as an adopted child, especially one with a different cultural background, brings unique challenges. For Zahara, the emotional complexities of being adopted from Ethiopia into a Hollywood family couldn't have been easy to navigate. The question of identity is something that many adoptees face, and for Zahara, it was no different. How did Zahara process her connection to Ethiopia? Was there ever a moment where she questioned who she was or where she came from? As an adopted child in an African-American family, Zahara likely faced feelings of displacement at times, especially during her early years. While Zahara's new family loved her unconditionally, the truth remains. There's a certain emotional weight that comes with being an adopted child, particularly when you're thrust into the global spotlight. The constant media attention, the rumors, and the pressure of being the adopted daughter in a famous family could have left Zahara feeling isolated. Yet, she has managed to hold her own, proving to the world that her identity is hers to define. As part of the Jolie-Pitt family, Zahara was surrounded by siblings from various backgrounds. With siblings Maddox, Pax, Shiloh, and the twins Vivian and Knox, Zahara has grown up in a unique and complex family dynamic. How did she relate to her siblings? Was there any friction between Zahara and the other children? Zahara's position as the only one with an African heritage in the family could have created challenges, yet she has always seemed to be close to her siblings. In fact, Zahara's calm demeanor and lack of public drama set her apart as one of the more grounded members of the family. As her siblings navigated their own relationships with the media and public attention, Zahara quietly carried herself with grace and poise. While the public may have focused on the spotlight that came with being part of the Jolie-Pitt family, Zahara's relationships with her siblings have likely been a source of support and normalcy in a world full of chaos. Angelina Jolie's commitment to adoption and philanthropy has always been at the forefront of her public image. Zahara's adoption, in many ways, is a reflection of her mother's dedication to helping children in need. But Zahara's own journey, her work, her education, and her growing voice shows how the legacy of adoption has shaped not just her life, but also the lives of others. Angelina has always believed in the importance of showing her children their roots, and Zahara has taken that to heart. As she grows into a young woman, Zahara continues to be involved in charity work, much like her mother. Her story is now her own, one that speaks to the power of adoption, the importance of family, and the strength of identity. Zahara is creating her own legacy, one that honors both her adoptive family and her Ethiopian roots. The story of Zahara Jolie-Pitt is far from over, and whether or not the world fully understands the complexities of adoption, Zahara will continue to walk her path with quiet strength, grace, and a legacy that transcends her famous name. Zahara Jolie-Pitt's life is a tapestry of twists, turns, and complex questions about family identity and fate. From an orphaned child in Ethiopia to a young woman carving her own path in the world, Zahara's journey is proof that family isn't just about biology. It's about love, support, and the people who raise you. Should Zahara reconnect with her biological mother? That's a question only Zahara can answer. But what's clear is this: Zahara is her own person, and her story continues to inspire. What do you think? Does Zahara owe it to herself to explore her past further? Or has her true home always been with Angelina? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more incredible stories like this. See you next time.